Hey everybody, I just finished the book Atlantia by Ali Kandi, and I wanted to do a really quick review for you. The background to this book is that there's a land above and a land below. The land above is our Earth, but it is filled with pollution and disease because of how mistreated the environment has been. The land below, however, people can live a full lifespan and have a more fulfilling life without the disease, whereas the people above live a much shorter lifespan because of all the disease, and they have to work to provide for the land below. The way they convince people to stay above is that if you are above, you have a loved one down below, so you're motivated to work and keep the land below going. But now the book opens, and this is literally just the very, very beginning, in a ceremony where teenagers decide if they want to go above or stay below. And if you are the only child in your family, you have to stay below. And if there are multiple siblings, at least one of them has to stay below to carry on your bloodline. So the book follows Rio as our main character. She has a twin sister named Bay, and they grew up with their mother, who was the minister and part of the governing body of Atlantia. However, she has died, and it's just the two sisters now. Rio is the older one, and she had always dreamed of going above, but she decides to stay below and stay with Bay. She made Bay that promise, and she goes first, says that she is choosing to stay below. Bay goes next, and we can see where this is going. Bay decides to go above. And the rest of the book is her figuring out, why did Bay do this? What is my place in this world? And what is going on in Atlantia? You also find out from the jacket in the first chapter that she is holding in a secret that Bay knows about and her mom knew about, but she can't tell anyone about. So that's all I've got without getting into spoiler territory. I would give this book a 2 out of 5. I enjoyed the storyline a lot. I liked the concept of the book. However, the writing style really left a lot to be desired, in my opinion, and I didn't enjoy the character development very much. It does have a lot of similarities to other dystopian novels in the setup. However, it is a standalone book, so it's not drawn out, and everything wraps up a lot faster. It's less than 300 pages, which is nice. Everything is more condensed, which might be why I didn't like the character development, but it also strays a lot from other dystopian novels, which I appreciated because I feel like dystopian novels have gotten kind of wash, rinse, repeat. However, it just left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. If you have read this book, I'm going to get into some spoiler territories. If you're not interested in reading this book, I'm going to get into some spoiler territories, and just my specific thoughts on things. So I found Rio to be really whiny in a lot of this book, but I think that that's more because of Kandi than because of the character. Kandi wrote about how she was lonely, how she had to keep her voice a secret, and how that was hard for her. But I don't think she made us really feel how isolated and alone Rio felt. There's a point later in the book where she's talking about, why do people know who I am? I understand why people knew who my mother was, and were very fond of my mother. She was the minister, but my sister and I, we just tried to blend into the background. Why would they know who I am? But I feel like if Kandi had let us in a little bit more on how isolated and alone and separated from the community Rio and Bay were, that comment would make a lot more sense. But it just sounds like they were at the temple all the time, and people came to the temple all the time, so why wouldn't they know who she was? So I don't feel like that was sussed out very well. I don't think that Bay's decision was very fleshed out either, that she decided to go above because it would ensure that Rio had to stay below, because Rio already made her choice, and they make it very clear that you cannot change your decision and you can't alter your decision. Once you're down, you are down, and there's no other way out. So I don't think that that was fleshed out really well. I did really like the relationship that Rio had with her aunt and the amount of distrust that was there. It made a lot of sense to me that her aunt was isolated because she was a siren and she was evil, and people are saying that she's a sea witch. And her mother had kept this isolation going. Then when Rio's left with no one, she's not sure if she can trust her aunt. That made a lot of sense to me, and I really did appreciate that relationship. I've heard other people's reviews where they're kind of like, it doesn't make sense, but that is honestly one of the only relationships that I think made the most sense. I did really enjoy the way that the villain was handled, and I enjoyed the plot of the book. Like I said before, I do like the storyline. I just don't like the way the story was handled. I enjoy the concept of the sirens and the people above not wanting to support the people below, and the idea that the people below were shipped off as free labor. These are all great concepts that I just don't think were fleshed out. There were so many gems in this book that I think could have been built on, but Condi just kind of mowed over them in wanting to make this a one-book story, which again, I said I appreciated because I get very tired of these long, drawn-out stories that don't need to be drawn out. But I think the things that she chose to build on weren't necessary, and some of the things that she rushed through really left us lacking for some of this story and some of the greatness that I feel like could have been this book. But of course, those are just my opinions. If you've read this book, I would love to have a conversation with you about it down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you know when I make new videos. And if you have any other book recommendations, also leave them in the comments down below. Until next time,